Too many times in our own lives we get knocked down. And it's the one thing that you get knocked down. That's one story. But the trick of the trade is to get back up. Today we're going to be talking about that because that's the most important thing. It's not how many times you get knocked, but it's the times and how you get up and you just keep on going. Hello, Nicole, and welcome today to
Hello.
Real.
How are, and I think the one thing about getting knocked down also is looking at what you learned. What did you learn from that lesson of getting knocked down? Because a lot of times we'll be given the same situation over and over and over until we learn from it. The universe will put us right back in the same spot. And boy, have I learned some big lessons in my life.
Me too. Yes, it's those lessons that actually I believe I've become a lot wiser. And that's why I call myself the wise woman, because after all the knockdowns and all the drag throughs, I have learned a ton. And it is incredible. But the idea is not just learning, but putting it actually into practice. That's
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think our guest today is on the same page with us and kind of the same mindset because we've both known him a while. And he is, I'm going to just tell you this, I love this man. He's an expert speaker. He's known as the comeback king. So I'm sure he's going to relate to the conversation. He's a conversationalist. He's a mastermind coach, and he's my friend. He's your friend. And welcome, Geoffrey Tyson, to the stage.
What's up, ladies? How's everybody?
Hello, welcome, Geoffrey. It's been too long. How have you been?
Glenda and Nicole, first of all, I want to say thank you, ladies, for having me back. And to your question, I was sitting here listening to, watching what's holding me back, and then listening to it's time. How about getting knocked down and getting back up, ladies? And it's been a roller coaster in my life. And as we talk about each and every day, man, get excited about the roller coaster. Right? Because those of us that are going through those challenges, those of us that are facing difficulties that we're like, oh man, what else is going to go on? I want to encourage you. That's the magic being worked on in us.
Absolutely.
Those are the blessings and all that stuff. So I'm glad to be here today and honored to be in front of you two ladies as always.
That's wonderful.
Well,
the roller coaster has the ups and downs of life.
Yeah.
And if we take that ride, we have to learn it's going to dip sometimes and it's going to come right back up. So the important part is, what are you going to do with yourself? Are you going to stay at the bottom, or are you going to rise to the top of that hill?
Yeah, I'm listening to you talk about it. And can I just be honest, like I always am, ladies?
Of course.
Some days, and yes, they call me the comeback king, and yes, I've earned that name from other people throughout my life. But there have been some days here lately where, down in the valley, almost got comfortable for me. Ooh, yeah, down in the valley was like, I almost felt a little familiar for me. And but here's the thing, here's the hit. And it's like we talk about, it's like, okay, I was talking to a young lady today earlier, and she said, I know I can't stay in a space that doesn't serve me long. So I give myself a couple of minutes and then I shake it off and get it back. And that's been what it's been like for me. All my life, when things have shown up, when I've been in that valley and I don't know what's coming next, I've always been able to hear my mom's voice or see my dad's presence, and then they've said, "Get up, son." Oh, wow. Get up, son. Don't stay there.
Yeah, right.
But I also believe that sometimes, because, this is what I find, is there are times when you have to sit back and then pull back, because you really need to have that time to be sitting quietly, figuring out what went on, how did it go on, what did you learn? And if we don't sit back and look at it, we can't automatically just jump and go. It doesn't work with that. Whether it doesn't matter what you call it, a pity party. You got to sit back and figure out really what went on. Because if we don't figure out, then how are we going to learn?
Yeah, I love that. That is so on point, and that's part of where I've been. We were talking before the show about my marketing director and my sister, who passed about 5 months ago, right? And she was everything about this business for me. And Glenda, to your point, part of that, I've always been like, what's next kind of thing, right? And the spirits have just said, Geoff, just sit, like you talked about. Look at what's supposed to happen when you come out of this funk. Look at what you're supposed to leave behind. Look at what's, I think, Nicole, you said, what did you learn from in this space moving forward? And it was kind of like odd, right, to feel that, because right away I wanted to just fix and manage and control it, and then get back out here and keep doing what we were doing. But to your point, the voice said, nah, don't do that. You've got something to learn in this grieving period. You've got something to learn and to give to other people from your experience in this grieving period. And it's some days I'm really high and some days I'm really low. But I know in the low points I'm going to be okay, right? And that's when I really try to sit still the most, ladies, so that I don't miss the message.
And that's where our messages come is in our stillness and in our silence. And, anytime that has happened to me, like with my mother, after she passed away, and I did like a card for her to send out to her friends. And I said how lucky I was to have had someone that made saying goodbye so hard. I was blessed to have her. And sometimes we have to flip it that way to know that, her time was done here. She did all she could do and all she needed to do. And now it's up for me to carry on her legacy. Yeah.
But that's tough, though. Ooh. That's tough to. You can say it now, but in the moment.
I know. I hear you. Just and that's been 10 years, Geoff. And there are days that my niece will call me up and ask me something, and it's like, oh my God, my mom would know that. But I don't get to call.
Yeah.
If you know the person well enough, you can sit back and it will come to you what that person would say in that type of situation.
That is so true. I'm experiencing that. If I may speak to that right now with Steph, who I mentioned to you in her passing. Right, we will meet on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that pops up on my calendar still. I haven't changed that. So, when that does, I would carve out some time and I'd sit there and I'd have a meeting with her. Some people I think I need to get my mind checked, but man, it's real, it's real stuff. I hear the answers. I hear her saying what you just said, Glenda, about a situation I asked her. That's crazy, man.
No, well, my father has been gone for 32 years now, and he was my everything in my life. And when he passed, I found such a void, and it took me years to get through it. And, I still till today can hear his voice and hear direction and feel direction. So wow. I believe when you are really in tune with a person, even when they transition, you're going to be hearing. I've always had that connection with him. And good people that you have that on, they never leave you.
Yeah.
I'm a true believer of that. And I've seen it too much in my life.
Yeah, no, I concur with you. Both my parents have been gone, maybe not 30, but a long time. And I can still, when I look in the mirror, I can hear my father talking back to me. right? And when I got my call about my prostate, it was a beautiful day, right? And I was talking to my guys on one of our construction rehab projects, and everything was going fine. And I got the phone call, and then the white noise showed up, and I didn't, I just was like, man, am I really hearing this? And then all of a sudden, I was in the backyard. It was big blue skies, and I looked up. And I tell this story, and I look up and I see my mom smiling down at me. She said, son, you got this. Remember who you are. Your name is Geoff Tyson. And it's like, I was like looking around and, thinking, am I losing my mind here or what? I mean, so, man.
Isn't that comforting, though, to know that they're still with us?
Yes.
To me, it gives me great, we don't have a lot of healthy conversations around death, I guess I should put it.
Yeah.
And, we're grieving for ourselves. We shouldn't be grieving for them because they're still here. They will come if called.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's like, it's very comforting to know that, I can't hear that physical voice, but I definitely can hear her when and if she talks to me or I ask a question.
Yeah, hear and feel, right? I mean, you can feel the presence.
Yeah.
There, right? And so it just, and I feel much better afterwards.
Same thing. So, Mr. Comeback King.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you back with us now?
Yes, I am. I am.
Let's talk about that a little bit because, I have been down many times. I've had everything in my life wiped away from me many times. And we talk about just what we just talked about, the fact that sometimes when we get knocked down, we need to figure things out. So it's not about jumping back up, but so it sort of having some type of presence about yourself and feeling and learning from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you have learned, what type of things come to you? Can you tell us about type of lessons and things? Because this is now just coming back to you again.
I would say to you, Glenda, that's really a great question. I would say to really, really, really value the time that I have with who I have in the moment, right? Like right now, with all the distractions in my life and everything that's going on, I want to be 100% in tune to what we're doing right now. And make sure that you ladies feel that, right? It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to do that. And before I was always kind of halfway looking on the side, or listening with one ear and not both, right? Or thinking about whatever I was thinking about. But time is so precious, right? And not to keep bringing her up, but to your point, I talked to her on Saturday morning and she was pretty much gone on Sunday.
Wow.
It was kind of like that fast. And then you really think about all the others that are here and present with you. How am I treating them? Right. And being grateful. So being grateful for the moment, Glenda, is one thing. Another is really, I'm still peeling off some layers of the imposter syndrome, and which is blocking me from doing some things that I need to have done, and I need to do them, not find a who to do them, because I believe in that. Because I didn't do it, and then it's about speaking to people that before had put on a platform that they were probably above having a conversation with me, and then be shocked when I reach out to them and they say, I would love to participate in what you want me to do, Geoff.
Isn't it something that when we get knocked, we get hit, it shakes us to another level. So what it does also, it shakes our confidence, our self-esteem, our worth, everything. And we question the world around us.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Okay, so I can't say it does. I feel it does.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I agree 100%. You know, I mean, and some of it for me has been, you know, falling on the negative side, the self-loathing side for a moment.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of like, because, you know, I'm still battling with some choices I made in my real estate business that have cost a significant amount of money, which my cash flow isn't what it's always been, what I like it to be. And so I I'm thinking, man, maybe the stories are true. Geoff, you're going to be 60 something and not have anything. And then I look around, I'm like, well, that can't be true. Right. And there is still some worth to what I have, and not just me, you know, those things, but ladies. And so it really is kind of like, man, is this whole mess true? Sometimes that still comes up.
Yeah, that's that little angel devil thing. That's that ego chatting at you, you know.
Yeah, that's thinking, girl. I mean, it really. And ladies, I'm just looking for something. I did not. If you would allow me, I hope your guests don't mind. I'm going to have to shift a little bit so that I don't lose you on this conversation. I need to plug in my computer. Steph is probably rolling her eyes for sure now, but
she'll scold you later.
Well, while we're talking about, and because I want to put it out, you know, there's nothing worse than the elephant in the room. And since we seem to have an elephant in the room today, I don't want people wondering what's going on behind Nicole, because that's just who I am, right? It's like there's something going on. And since we're talking about people passing over and all the rest of it, well, we found that today when Nicole and I first came on, something going on behind her. She's not doing this. She's got somebody, or, you know, there seems to be some energy behind her that seems to be happening. So, just saying that it's whatever it is, it's a good energy anyway.
Yeah, and I see light in it, and I see white. Now, if it were darkness trying to attach, I'd be a little worried. I'm going to call my friend Natasha after this and have her look at it and see what she sees. But, you know, it's like I told Glenda. I said I've had a situation where I had to call in my guides, angels, and ancestors to protect me. So is that what you're seeing? I don't know. But in 2 years of doing this, we have never had anything like this. And it's really close to me. I don't feel a presence or anything. But oftentimes when they're electric beings, those who have passed on. And it's so interesting because that's why oftentimes TVs will go on and off, and that's why light bulbs will blow out. But here I am on my computer, another electronic, and we're seeing this it's been going on the whole time, hasn't it, Glenda?
Yeah.
yeah.
So you know, we didn't
continue like there's 4 of us.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the conversation, spirits. We love you.
Absolutely. Maybe they'll give me some tips or tricks.
Oh man, so I'm situated now. Thank you for tolerating me having to move. So
we're good. Now we got a different presence of you, because you're a little bit your voice is now just a little bit off.
Okay.
Just in a little bit so we can get you back, Mr.
How about now? Is it better?
Yeah, that's better. Nope, now you just muted yourself. So we're having technical difficulties with Mr. Geoff Tyson here.
Technical with him, spiritual with me. We've got something going on here, folks.
So let's talk about how you're going to move forward now. Life sometimes gets us, it knocks us down. Yeah. Maybe it's part of our egos. Our egos sometimes get out of sync. We start thinking of ourselves, and I'm not saying you. I'm just saying I'll talk about me. You know, I sometimes think that part of our knockdowns is not to keep us down, but to humble us.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really important to be humbled in life, because when I see people that think that that they're beyond than the real thing, like, you know, they become very snooty and high in life. You know, I've been humbled many times, and for that, I am very much a grounded person
Yeah.
because of all of that, and, you know, my life. So it keeps it down. But I believe that some people, that it happens to us from time to time, because we all need to be humbled. We all have to be grateful for what touches our life, good and bad.
Yeah, boy, Glenda, you and Nicole, you guys are just somehow reading what's going on in my world. the piece about ego and you know, related to my real estate choices, and when I look back over how I got to that situation, there was some ego driven, right? If I can do this, I did this, now I can do this, and if I can do this and make this work, then I can do this, and then I.
Hey, listen, I get you. You know, I did the same thing in real estate. You know, I was a little bit too big for my boots, and you know, I can do a few things at a time, and it came whamming down at me. I never been so humbled in my life with what I had to live through and deal with. So yeah.
Yeah. So ego has been part of that piece, and staying and back to your other point about when things happen, really, you know, sitting still long enough to let whatever's supposed to happen, and then hear what I'm supposed to do next. You know, because I believe I'm still put on this planet for real estate and what I do in the real estate business. But, you know, what I have been doing before probably needs to change, will have to change, and it has changed. You know, I've sat on my hands over the last year and haven't done any transactions, which doesn't help the cash flow either, right?
Yeah, I hear you. That's why I'm back into the game now.
Yeah. So we could talk again later on about this stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yep.
But, you know, so I'm really just kind of like, man, I'm excited about the glimpses of what I see. I'm excited about the fact that, you know, your messaging today is spot on with what's going on in my life. You know, I mean, it's eerie, but it's not, because you ladies are energy bound queens I mean, you know what's going on, 65 and thriving and all that stuff for me. So it's been really great to hear you ask those questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But we're not here to watch you going down. We're here to help you keep going up, because we also believe that, you know, there's not enough good people in our world, and that we need in our life to be empowering others, empowering ourselves, so that we can help others to move forward along the line. And like any other person, leaders and everybody has a time where we all fall.
Yeah.
But it's the idea of you know, as we humble ourselves, we speak out the truth, so that, you know, we're all human.
Yeah.
And in human, it is at times that we do err, and we proceed, but we learn what we've gone through.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that, because I really, you know, I share where I'm at, but I don't come from a place of please pity me or oh for me.
No.
You know, it's really about, well, here's where I'm at, real talk, you know, and full transparency. But the other thing to all of that is, like you're talking about, you know, I have some things in my life that I don't talk a lot about, but, you know, I'm excited for. You know, I mean, I think maybe you ladies may know, but, you know, I've been in recovery, you know, now for. Part of my journey was women, alcohol, and a few of them little illegal things every now and then. I talk about the dressed up garbage can a lot because on the outside I was that guy, that I always went to work, had a great, had these houses. And so, okay, I got you. Is this better? So that I really was like, man, everything was good on the outside of my life. And ladies, 30 years ago, I was a mess, right? Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, right? And so I began this whole journey in recovery, and I'm bringing all this up because as of last month, I celebrated 30 years.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's beautiful.
Yeah, all the things around that and 12-step process and all that work I've done on myself. So I have things to be excited about, right?
Absolutely.
And tomorrow it'll be a year since I had my prostate cancer surgery, and I've been cleared of all cancer in the last 4 tests I've had. So,
Yay.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what's so refreshing about this to me, since we're talking about ego, is you're very humble and you're very honest and open. And that's a man or woman who has kind of set aside their ego and just becomes themselves. Now, if you were talking to someone strapped into that ego with that heart that was shut down, no matter what happens, I'm good, I'm fine. Oh, that you get that stoic armor that shows up, and a lot of times lies. They're going to lie about what they're doing, how they're doing it, and to me, it's very transparent. So when I hear your breath of fresh air talking, and just being extremely honest with everyone. To me, that's humbling for me to see someone like you be able to sit here and tell us in full honesty and full openness exactly what's going on with your life. And that way we know where to direct our energy to you. We can pray from our hearts. We can send you blessings. We can send you love. And if someone is even going through that with the ego, they're not going to get the true impact of someone sending them the energy, love, and acceptance.
Wow, I'm feeling it. I mean, it's starting to come out, right, from the words you just shared. And I know this to be true, that, I prayed to have Geoff removed from this conversation today so that who I'm supposed to be shows up. So that, whatever comes out, right? Because that's how you ladies are. I mean, you bring out the real in people. You provide a safe space for people. I mean, the energy around you, Nicole, as it keeps flashing, is present, right? And Glenda, I just love the just like, bang, bang kind of way you are.
But I'm saying this out of true love. I'm not here to judge.
Yeah, I know.
I am nobody special. I am just me.
Yeah.
And I will give everything out of my heart and soul.
Yes.
And it's not about being that I'm better or that, I still put my pants on the same way you do, or, I still, everything the same.
Yeah.
And I've lived through hell and gone back and around all over. But, so I'm not telling you what you've gone through or that I admire you because, to go through the hell that you've been through, and that you can sit here now and say to me, I'm 30 years that I am now celebrating. I'm saying to you, that is incredible. To have that, so many people, just to get their own emotions in sync. How many times have you seen, and I've seen it time and time again, when you go out and you never mind the other things, but just a normal thing of being kind and being helpful or not losing your temper. How many times are you out and you see a parent who loses their temper at their children and swaps their kids? And that just does me in.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I only remember once putting soap in my daughter's mouth. She was a little girl and she told me to F off, and that was it. She never said that again, mind you.
Oh my gosh.
But I never, hitting my children, there was always about conversations and talking and telling them that I wasn't happy with who they were, what they did or things like that. But you see people, that's about sitting back and looking at yourself. When you are a person that's losing yourself all the time, we all lose ourselves, but are you constantly losing yourself? Are you constantly looking for things to aid you so you don't have to face life? These are the real things in life. And you have to get back and, just like I said, if you fall down, then stop just jumping up. Stay down for a minute and start looking at yourself and say, why did that happen to me?
Yeah.
What did I do? Maybe it even wasn't your fault, but I've lost a relationship that had mostly to do with my partner, but hello, I still had involvement in it. There was still things in it that I was responsible for, and you have to look at your responsibilities of where things have come from.
Yeah. I love that, Glenda, and in no way was I saying I didn't take your. I just love how you are. You're just like, man, you just bang bang, no bull crap around you, or Nicole. These are two different personalities, and I love both of them for who you are. You stay in that zone. That's why your show does so well together, because it just blends and it fills the gaps, right? So I thank you for the kind words, and that journey has not been an easy journey, and some of the gifts along the way of surrendering and beginning a new life in recovery was, my mom, who she was like, I was in New York City or Connecticut working and living my best life, so I thought, right? And all these things, I get a phone call from my sister, and she said, hey, Geoff, you need to come to the hospital. Mom's in the hospital, right? And I'm going out. This is before all the recovery. This is before everything else. This is kind of the end of my body beginning. I go and I get in the hospital. I'm walking, and I pull up to this big building with lights everywhere, and I walk down the hallway. And the hospital hallways are just hospital hallways, drab and echoing. And I walk into the room, and I see my siblings. They're already there, and they're along the room. I'm in the bed with tubes in there. And just a proud woman, right? Just a beautiful, proud woman. At the foot of the bed, guys, my dad was at the foot of the bed painting her toenails, right? They were married like 44 years at this time, right? And I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me, and I could see the tear in her eye.
Wow.
And in mine, because she knew that her son, that's all I really wanted, was to have a real relationship like that. And I was so far away from any kind of relationship. Right? And I say all that to say that I began recovery shortly after that, 18 months after that visit. When my mom was laying in the bed and taking her last breath. I was there with her. And I was clean. I didn't have any substance abuse. I didn't have any crazy girlfriend relationships. We had spent time over that 18 months, connecting and sharing. So the benefit.
To have a clear mind means to have a clear heart as well, and for that, you were rewarded for that, is my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's relevant to our conversation today. So many things to be grateful for. When things really go bad, I begin to think about the things that I'm grateful for, the people that I'm grateful for, right? The people that I can help and participate and show up here today, and man, I'm so glad that you ladies asked me to be here, because I feel like it was divine intervention to allow me to share where I'm at with this stuff. Be comfortable with me.
And I think that when we become real and we share of what we're going through, that's why I don't care about sharing my stories. Not that I'm saying in a positive way, because through all of things, I hope that I can help others. They see themselves and where I've gone, and maybe I can help them move forward a little easier, just like what you're doing now by sharing what you've been through, and that somebody who is now struggling with that same thing, maybe you can actually help them as well. So that's the bonus part of all of this, is being able to help others who might be going through any of the times where they feel that they're struggling.
Absolutely. And to me, and I was always ones that held things really close, didn't share, didn't talk about things. And, I figured out I could process it. And I've come to learn that vulnerability is the new superpower. It is the new superpower, because people are starting to see us as humans. We're not perfect. We never have been, but we're opening up and we're showing a side of ourselves that people can resonate with. I mean, either they can or they can't. If they can't, that's fine also. But if they do, I think they're going to have a lot more comfort level with us, in terms of, boy, that, they talked about themselves, and for me, I'd be like, well, hers is way worse than mine, so I certainly can talk about it. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, sitting here, especially as a man, because so often you've been conditioned to not do this, to not have feelings, to not talk about them, to not have tears, to get up and pound your chest and hit the door running the very next day after something happens. And it's just not, that is not possible. And if you are doing it, you're going to get so lost and mired in anger and grief and animosity and all the things that you didn't process and come to terms with.
Oh boy, that's beautiful. Beautifully said. And I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it reminded me of my 5-year-old self, who already 5 or 6 years old, who already was supposed to be a man, who already was not supposed to cry, who already was confused as heck, because when you run into the house after you get hit in the face with a baseball bat, and you got this big knot on your face, and they tell you to stop crying, it didn't hurt.
So who was giving you that message?
Ooh, I think at the time it might have been an auntie or someone's supposed to be watching us, right?
Yeah.
And or the loved one. Mom and Dad did a lot of great things, man, but what they didn't do well was part of this, right? They were. My mom was a strong woman, and my dad was a strong man, so tears wasn't part of their game. And they were from that school of boys be men and all that stuff. Just like Nicole was saying, I lived that life. Right.
Well, and for majority, a lot of men have. I think it's only in this new era that we're in that people are learning that they can a man can cry and a man can talk. But it's, when the girls get together, we talk about everything. Like, you name it, we're into it.
We're like this.
We talk about sex, we talk about men, we talk about the business, but we talk about everything.
Yeah.
What do you two guys talk about? Sports and business.
Well,
am I right?
Yeah, and I find myself, that's funny you say that. I have a grandson, right? He's 6 years old now. And this is just a conversation, so I'm not criticizing anybody for what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's my son-in-law's dad's old school, right? And he jokes about, come on here, Major, and hang out with the men. Stay away from the girls. It's time to be a man. And I tell him, I said, man, listen, no disrespect, but let's not raise him the retarded way we were raised. Let's don't influence him with these misguided suggestions. Let's allow him to be a 6-year-old boy who still needs a hug, who still wants to cry, who still may want to play with his sister, who still, his feelings may get hurt and he's okay to cry and maybe talk it through with him. Let's don't teach him the things that we're learning how to unlearn in our lives.
You know, this is so interesting that you're talking about that, because I had the biggest download just today. And what it was is when children come here, they're still incredibly connected to the spirit world, because they've been there, so they can see things, they can hear things, they're very, very connected. And I was told that by the time we become parents, we're so conditioned that that we know everything, and when we really don't, we've just been told things, and so we're acting upon things that we've seen, maybe not things that we've felt. And what I was told is, if people would start looking through the eyes of children and get themselves down to that level of sight, that we would have so much more clarity, and we could start unconditioning ourselves and let them teach us versus what we think we're supposed to teach them.
I like that. Yeah.
It's crazy though how this has just flowed into so many important, aspects and conversations. And, I don't know, maybe this energy behind me was part of what told me this morning. So I could mention that to you. It was just out of the blue, because my kids are grown.
Yeah, I love that, and lately, because our grandkids, that's why we're in Texas. Our grandkids are here in Texas. My wife and I are really active in their lives, and they're 3, 6, and they're 14 now. And I've been telling people, hey, let's start to live our lives through the eyes of the imagination of the child, where there are no limits. There are no hesitations about things. They want what they want, and there's so much life that they're living, right? And being okay receiving recognition and receiving love. Right? I mean, nothing lights them up when they're trying to do something and you praise them for it, and all of a sudden the whole smile comes up, right? When was the last time we allowed ourselves to be recognized like that? Right?
To dream.
Yeah, to dream.
To dream, to have fun. Just
have fun.
Get into the just into that innocence of just doing and not thinking of consequences. Everything's within reason, long as they're safe. It's the most important thing. Yeah. But when we were kids, we used to go in the kitchen and make up all these concoctions, and we were wasting a whole lot of stuff. But isn't that what it's supposed to be like when you're a kid?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Kenna, our 3-year-old, we went skating, and she couldn't skate that well, but she was brave enough to keep skating, right? And she finally got it, and all of a sudden, this song, the moringa, whatever that song is, you do this stuff.
Yeah.
She's on her skates, and she's doing the da-da-da-da. Didn't care about anything.
Oh, I love that.
I wish I could show you ladies the video. I mean, our video it just was like, wow, what can we learn from that?
Yeah, and patience too, because I always try to tell my niece this is the first time they're seeing something that you've been seeing for 30 years. This is their first time. Look at it with them and see if it maybe looks different.
Yeah.
See it through their eyes. Just look at it, absorb it. What could they be thinking? Ask them about it.
Yeah.
Engage them. Don't talk to them, talk with them.
Talk with them. Yes. And kneel down at their level, right?
Eye level.
It's a whole other connection when that happens.
Yeah.
You could feel their energy.
Yeah, and do you remember when your kids were little, we'd put them on our hips and they could see what we see? Yeah. And it was like, Mom, I didn't know that was there. I mean, there's, it's amazement. And if they're amazed at our world, why aren't we amazed at theirs?
Ooh, because of what Glenda was talking about earlier, the ego.
Yeah.
The mission of life and all the things that go around, just chasing.
Well, sometimes we're so busy chasing that we can't, just as you talked about a little earlier about being in the present moment. We miss so much in our lives because we're so busy doing and saying and going that we're never present to enjoy where we are.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And that's why this time of being with your grandchildren is precious.
Unbelievable. I mean, I learn something from them every day that I'm with them. You know, it's different. The 14-year-old, she's got a whole nother level of peer pressures and experiences. But then when she's in her element, it's just like she's just like bold and beautiful, right? She wants to do theater and she's got a beautiful voice and she starts talking about that and you get to see the shift, right?
Yeah.
You know, and speaking and living in our gift. It's undeniable what we're all meant to be and do. Right? But what's keeping us from getting there?
Yeah. I
I
know.
don't know. Are we too busy?
I think we're too busy. I don't think we listen like we should. I think we're distracted. I think we've been conditioned from school to, you know, raise our hands to go to the bathroom, raise our hands to eat. We're always waiting for someone to okay.
Okay.
Doing.
Yes. Waiting for permission.
Wait for permission. And that, you know, when it starts that young, it takes 12 years to condition. Well, what does that have you do? That goes have you go right out into the workforce and you're conditioned for the same rules, just at a different level.
At a different level, you know. It's funny you said 12 years. I saw something the other day and it talked about young women and how, you know, as a child they're okay and they're wide open with their bodies, but by the age of 12 or 10 to 12, they're always pulling stuff around them, always kind of uncomfortable with what they have on, just as an instinctive behavior, you know, and it's just like, man, what are we doing to our men, our young babies? If it's impacting the girls like that, what are we missing with our young men?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, you just hit a nerve with me when you said about pulling and not being comfortable, because that's how I was as a young woman, as a young started in childhood,
Yeah.
feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. And it took a long time for that feeling to come out of me.
Yeah.
And but that's right, because we're so busy looking at people and judging, so people are from the judgment are knocking themselves down, and that's what's happening.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. I mean, and they put it in front of us everywhere, right? And our kids, now on the kids thing, the parents, you know, our kids have access to. You ladies are a little younger than me, but when I grew up, there was only 3 TV channels, and TV went off at 12, and there was no the phone. You had to put your finger on the wall and dial it, right? And so the information that you got was from encyclopedias, these big books.
Oh, I remember. I'm not that far back from you.
Yeah.
I was on the other seat of the bus, so please.
Well, since Glenda's being honest too, yeah, I think we all took that same bus, you know.
Oh.
You know what? Our times are going down, but that's why it's so important now that we speak up. We speak our truths, because we're the messengers. You know, if it doesn't come from us, how are the younger people supposed to learn? If we don't tell us, you know, what I felt like, what you felt like, some of the things that we've been through, some of the things that happened that shouldn't have happened, or the way we perceive things. These are how we're here to teach you the others before our time is up.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of doing shows like this, so that we can be honest and just say it the way it's at.
Yeah.
Get real.
I just get ready to say his name, get real, baby.
This is as real as you're going to get. So, you know, it is getting on and realizing, like you said, like we were just talking about, as growing up, we, you know, there were a lot of things that was happening. You know, you had to be quiet when you're in. The children should be seen but not heard.
Yeah.
All this bullshit, right? And that's really what it is. Why do children not get to be seen? Well, you know, the whole idea is children need to be seen. Children need to be heard.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We got to know what's going on in their mind. Maybe that's part of the problem of why things are going the way they are out there. If you're looking around at social media, you know, the young people, you know, they're not learning the right things. They're getting their news from watching social media. Hello, maybe trying to read a book or history, get some examples, and really find out where things are. Maybe then you'd be changing your tune.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And they don't have anywhere to take this information that they're learning. You know, they don't. The parents aren't talking to them. You know, like you talked about earlier, talking with them, right? I don't see those conversations happening. So, you know, and so they're talking to their friends, so they get all this knowledge and all this information, and we don't know really what's going on with them. You know, and who's reaching out to them, who's influencing them. I mean, it's a problem, and you know, I'm concerned about it because I have these kids that are this age, these grandbabies.
Of course,
you know,
and you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting too, because if they've never been talked to or given attention, could that possibly be why some of their actions are so outlandish today?
Yes.
In terms of claiming, and I'm not saying they are or they aren't, but you know, to have all the letters behind your name, and this is how these are my pronouns, and that's fine, you know, but maybe there is a gap there where they didn't feel seen or heard, and it's only becoming the ability to do it now is much easier, but maybe it's not the right subject.
No.
I'm saying this very gently.
Well, I'll say how I think about it. If we were really listening to them, and that question came up, or we were aware of what they were watching or learning or having amongst themselves, then maybe we would be able to give them some clarity on just the fundamentals of who we are, you know, and not have all the different titles and all the other things that, you know, my granddaughter's been keeping me up to speed on all the different things and the names and why you say and who you say and how you say and all that. And I don't judge, right? I mean, I just, you know, it's like, okay, how do we connect? How do we stay connected through this process of growing up?
Yeah.
You know, without losing you completely.
Well, the whole thing is the most important thing is if you can sit around like a table and you can talk, so you can understand where they're coming from.
Yeah,
true.
You know what's going on. You know, like here's the thing: how many people nowadays go and sit around the table at dinner time and eat with the family and really talk about their day?
Yeah. The Blue Bloods on TV on Friday nights, the only ones I see.
But it's true. We've kind of lost that. I don't know. You know, like I'd love to get, maybe we put it out there to people that watch, you know, is this a thing that is not seen or heard of anymore? That families sit around and we talk and we voice our opinions and talk about what we like and what we don't like. And, you know, like I did it growing up. I know I did it with my children. Yeah. It was always family now. But, you know, it seems like it's now the dinosaur.
Yeah, you know, that's funny you say that because part of my wife and I and our daughter, we have the Sunday dinners now when we can. And we sit around, phones are on the baskets, no conversation. So the topics that you're talking about would be good additions to that, right? You know, I mean, to have the just to bring everybody around and have the conversation, it was a little awkward when we first started. But now, you know, it's the plan is to gain momentum around the subject that you're talking. Simple things.
I love it. Yeah.
You know, and so I'll let you ladies know how that works.
Please keep us in tune because it is. It's to start, because once our children get used to things like that, the whole idea is hopefully it carries on.
Yeah. Come back to the table. Come back to having conversations.
Come back to the table.
Instead of sitting at the table and texting each other at the table, you just sit down.
That's a great statement, though. Come back to the table.
I like that. I heard it too.
Love it. I'm using it. No.
Yeah, me too.
Let's start using. Come back to the table and let's just talk.
Let's
Put
just
down the
talk.
phone and let's just talk.
Yeah.
I wanna
Let's have a
talk to
conversation.
people
Let's
about it.
listen. Right? Listen with intent.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
I want to know what's on your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And then listen. Don't be asking the question like I've done before.
Yeah, don't doing this with your phone and looking around. Look in their eyes. Their eyes will give away. Your eyes will tell someone
Ooh.
if you're sincere, if you're sad, if you're angry, if you're receptive. Look in their eyes.
Or if you're even there.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
You
True.
know, I like that, Nicole, because I always, when I talk to somebody, I'm always looking at after what they say. I look in their eyes.
Yep.
It's
It's a
really,
dead giveaway.
you know, that's so true. Right? How they're really feeling, how they're, I mean, I don't have all the answers, but generally I can tell when there's something that's not connected,
Yeah,
or there's more conversation needs to happen.
I love it.
You know what? We don't need to know all the answers, but we do need to know that somebody beside us or around us just cares.
Yes.
And that's what I think where it really just starts.
So true. I know you ladies care about me today. I ain't no question about that.
Always.
As I said, here we have somebody who's just saying here, no phones or TVs in the background.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally agree. High fiving you on that one.
High five, and yes, indeed.
Even putting the telephone down, if the TV's on, I'm not even going to say anything as long as everything is directed inward. I think at the beginning, the most important point is that, if you encourage with laughter, with hearing, with love, that the rest sort of just fades away.
Mm-hmm.
We can't push what we want right at the beginning of the stage.
Yeah.
We just sort of need to mellow into it.
Yeah, that's good advice too, because that's what I found myself. I sat on my hands at the first time we came together because the conversation was all over the place, but it was a conversation. Right? And so what you're just saying is so true. Just start, right? And start messy, but start. Right?
Love it.
Start messy, but start.
Beautiful thing. And what a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, it looks like our time is already gone. I don't know where the hour is gone. Jeffrey, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure, and we missed you. So welcome back.
Thank you.
We're here at any point in time. We're here to be your cheerleaders. We're here to be a little hard on you if you need to at times. But no matter what, we're going to be here for you. So, and letting you know, anybody who's watching us too, that we're all three of us are here. And we're here to have conversations. And if you're looking for it, put a note down in the comments below and let us know. What are your thoughts about what happened today? Jeffrey, as we finish this last part of the segment, what would your message be to people watching us today?
I would just simply say that, find a place, community where you're comfortable, and begin to unwrap what it is that's not working in your life. Find the people that are willing to help you. You don't have to do this journey by yourself. I mean, this show that these ladies host is a fabulous place to be, and I know you can connect with them. But get connected with the right people. Show yourself some grace, as Glenda so eloquently told me. And remember, man, we're all meant for greatness, right? We all have a purpose on this planet. If you haven't reached yours yet, don't stop. If you haven't found out what it is yet, don't stop searching. And if you tried and you failed, then try one more time. But like the lady said at the beginning, it's about how you get up when you get your butt up.
Thank you. Beautiful words. Nicole, what would you like to share with us before we leave today?
Well, as we're talking about all this, there's so many directions one could go. But when I think about the loudness in the world today, maybe people had to get louder just to be heard. So if we take it one-on-one and truly listen with our hearts, maybe people won't have to yell so much and make a fuss and do outlandish things. Maybe they've just wanted to be heard for who they are all along, and we're just not listening as a society.
Wow. Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
So I want to thank you all for joining us today, for getting a little bit real, because that's what we're all about. And just remember, just like Geoff said and Nicole, you're not on this journey alone. We're not meant to be doing everything alone. And I know how hard that is because I spent a lot of time in my years of growing up alone. Loneliness is a hard thing, and it's only getting worse. But all it takes is you to reach out and say, I need a little bit of help, and we're here to help you. So thank you for joining us today. And remember, just reach out because we're here to help. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.